Hi, everyone. Christine Blosdale back at you again with the micro podcast for podcasting. And today is episode 7, and it's called Keep It Simple, Silly Goose. Now, this is something that I try to reiterate to all of my clients that I coach who are just starting out creating their podcast for the very first time. For some, it can seem very overwhelming, all of the aspects of a podcast. Everything from creating the brand, the logo, the theme music, the length of the show, how long it's going to be, the genre, about getting over the nervousness about being on a microphone, about getting over the nervousness about being on video, because I teach everybody to make sure that your podcast is both an audio and a video podcast. Extremely important to do both of those. But sometimes people can get overwhelmed with the process. And I want to tell you today, the most important thing you can do is to keep it simple. And when I say that, the things that you want to concentrate on are having a really good microphone, having a clear, crisp audio sound, which is absolutely vital for any podcast show. But also you want to take this process in small steps. If an hour-long show every single week is just way too much for you, you don't have the time, you already have a job, or you have 2 jobs, or you have a large family that you need to care after, whatever the circumstance is, make sure that the format in which you do the show is something that you can handle. If it's a long format show, like an hour long, or if it's a mid-range around 30 minutes, or if it's a micro podcast like this, which is about 5 minutes or less, you have to make sure that you can be able to do your show in a concise and somewhat regular basis. Case in point, when I first started out, for the first year and a half, basically, I had to do a show every single week. Why? Because when I first started, I told everybody that each and every week they could expect a great show on transformational consciousness with master teachers and blah, 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 blah. And boy, did I get myself into trouble with that, because I had to create a show every single week. That meant doing research, contacting potential guests, writing up the introduction, getting to know them, setting up a recording date, recording it, editing it every single week. And I did that for a long time. And I'm here to tell you, you can burn out, and you can take something that you're so passionate about and start it out as being a really fun adventure. And it can be a pain in the butt. It can be something that's, oh my God, it's so overwhelming, but I've already committed to my audience that I'm going to be delivering something each and every week. So what I'm saying is that you want to keep it simple in the beginning. If that means doing an episode and then another week you do another episode, or another 2 weeks you do another episode, that's okay. You just want to have a level of consistency, but you don't want to put yourself in a box where you have to deliver something once a day or once a week if you don't have the time, energy, effort, and mind space to do it. So that's why we want to keep it simple, silly goose. Another thing that will help you keep it simple is to create files so that you are organized. Being organized with your podcast show is so vitally important. This is what I really want to encourage you. Make sure that you have organized folders. If it's on your desktop or in external storage, these files can tend to be quite large, especially the video files. So you want to have folders clearly marked. I have Out of the Box with Christine. I have a main folder for that. And then inside I have subfolders. So I'll have finished shows, the year 2020, 2019. I'll break it down to the guest name. And within those folders, I have their image, I have their biography, I have a guest release form. I have all those details, plus the audio file and the video file as well. So that if I want to repurpose it, let's say in 5 years' time, I want to go back and I want to repurpose those interviews and create a book or create a course. I have that ability because I have everything saved and I know exactly where it is. That is extremely important. Just keep it simple. Again, if an hour is too much, take it to half an hour. If a half an hour is too much, take it down to 10 minutes. The main thing is that you get the experience, you get the practice, and you start creating your podcast show. One more tip on keeping it simple. When you're first starting out, you don't need a ton of equipment. You don't need lots of gizmos. You want to make sure you invest in just a couple things. Don't go crazy. You don't need to. Get a good light so that you're lit up really well on your videos. Invest in a decent microphone. Make sure you have a strong Wi-Fi signal And an external drive is always very, very smart because you want to make sure you save your files and you want to make sure that they're protected. That's all you need to get started. And if you need more help, you can always contact me. I am a podcast coach and manager. You can contact me at christineblasdale.com. For now, I want to say thank you so very much for tuning in to another episode of the Micro Podcast on Podcasting.